Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. Let's move into music news. We have some new music announcements. So in music, we're starting again, new music. This section, this subsection rather, is going to be a little bit different. Normally we talk about just new videos, but this time we have some new music announcemements. Technically, this first one is a follow-up. So Rammstein, we know, is putting out a new record this year because they worked on one while they were in lockdown for COVID. They have announced that they are going to be releasing their first single from this new record later this week. So we have nothing to listen to yet, but by the end of this week, we will have some new Rammstein to listen to, and there is going to be a proper music video for it. So I'm going to probably be doing another batch of reaction videos in the next couple of days. Zeit is the name of the song that we're going to be getting the song and the music video for. Still no exact date on the release for the record. That honestly could be wrong. I think I might have just missed it. So I'll add it to the screen right here, or if you're listening on post, we'll touch on it next week. So Terror is our next piece. Terror is putting out a new album. New album is called Pain into Power, set for release on May 6th through Pure Noise Records. The first single features George Corpse Grinder Fisher, so Terror, epic classic hardcore band from the East Coast, from New York specifically, I'm pretty sure, featuring one of the greatest death metal vocalists ever. This is quite the mashup. So the name of the song is Can't Help But Hate. It's like 2 minutes long. It's a blink and you miss it, like you kind of would expect from a band like Terror. Oh, but it's so much fun. Like, it's so crushing in certain parts, and like just they take the Terror formula and replace those gang vocals that you expect from a hardcore song and put in George Fisher's voice there where you would expect those. Oh man, just a lot of fun. Absolutely recommend listening to this first single, and absolutely recommend buying this Terror record on May 6th. Moving on. We're talking about now In Flames, the godfathers of metalcore, kind of. One of the godfathers, also At the Gates is probably the other godfather of the subgenre. They have finished their, listen to this, 14th studio album. No release date set just yet, but they are headed out on tour in April. So, and I believe we already talked about that. So we very probably will be seeing that record drop before they hit tour in April. And then our final piece of new music comes from the Dead South once again. They have released another cover. This one is very interesting because it's Chop Suey. Yeah, I have not listened to it, so I cannot necessarily make a recommendation, but it is Dead South covering System of a Down. How could you not be interested in listening to that? I will be doing a reaction video, like I said, probably going to be doing another batch of reaction videos later this week, so this will very likely be the first one that gets posted from that batch. That is what we have for new music. Now let's move into news. We have one big piece of actual regular old news, and it comes from Tom MacDonald, the TLDR on who Tom MacDonald is. White boy rapper, quite talented, very much on the conservative side of the argument when it comes to social politics, though I would be surprised if he considered himself an actual conservative. And one of the, if not the biggest independent artists in America right now, just posted a video the other day about his new record that is just coming, or just came out, I guess, or coming out very soon. I can't remember. I didn't write down the date because that's not exactly what we're talking about. His new record is going through some issues with Billboard. So the Billboard aggregate, or the Billboard numbers that you get that tell you who's the highest selling and what and where and the how and the why, is an aggregate. They do not collect their own data. Tom goes into great detail in his video, which you can find linked down in the description. But they do not collect their own data. This is an endemic of the industry, and this is also signs of a dying music industry. And if you really want the super detailed explanation of what's going on with Tom, then by all means, just go watch his video. I just feel like it needs some light shown on it because this is a little ridiculous. And honestly, being an independent artist myself, I feel what's going on with Tom to a much less degree, but still, I understand the situation and it sucks and my heart goes out to him, and hopefully him doing that video will bring enough light to the situation of why independent artists don't do as well in this industry as they should, being as they own their own masters and so on and so forth. It's a real good deep dive into all of that. So go check out Tom MacDonald's page. Even if you don't agree with his politics or you don't specifically like him, it is a very good argument for any independent artist. We are moving on though. Now let's get into the tours section, and we have two very unlikely tours being announced. First up, we're talking about ZZ Top have announced that they are going back out on tour. This will be the first tour since Dusty's passing. Billy Gibbons, Frank Beard, sorry, are headed out on tour. They're also releasing a new live album called Raw, which is, I believe, the very last thing that Dusty Hill recorded before his passing, which is pretty freaking awesome. July 22nd is the release of Raw, and then the tour starts May 6th in Ontario, Canada, and then it rolls through August 27th in Kentucky. Our other tour that is highly unlikely but is actually happening, the Prodigy. Old school 90s techno music listeners will remember the Prodigy. I don't know that they've done a whole lot to stay relevant since then, since the Breathe song and the Firestarter song, the Fat of the Land record, actually, very specifically. They've done quite a few records since then, so I hear you commenting right now, oh, the Prodigy have been around forever. They keep doing awesome work. I don't disagree with you, but normies who kind of passively listen to these things as they make their way into the popular conversation don't know that the Prodigy still exists. And some of them probably don't even remember that they lost one of their vocalists, Keith Flint, just a couple years ago. So that's why I feel like this was an unlikely announcement, because Keith's passing, they're not exactly the biggest group. They don't have a whole lot of members. So when you lose one, that's pretty detrimental to the sound. It could be, I guess, pretty detrimental to the sound. So they are going on tour. I'm burying the lead here. September 8th, all the way through September 23rd. So basically the month of September, they will be touring through England. This is a celebration of the 25th anniversary of that record, Fat of the Land, but the band has been very specific to note that they will be playing much, much more than just those old tunes. They say they're going to be playing some stuff you have never heard before, and honestly, if you're going because you like Fat of the Land, there's probably a lot of their music that you have never heard before. That is what we have for tours, though. Let's get into the suggestions for musical suggestions this week. I have one from Black Light Burns, which, if you are unfamiliar, is Wes Borland's serious side project outside of Limp Bizkit. Actually, the primary project that he worked on while he was not in Limp Bizkit. This is the first record, Cruel Melody, that I am suggesting to you here. This is... If you like your hard rock with an industrial goth tinge, then this is honestly the record for you. They did 3 other records besides this one. The one immediately after this is called Cover Your Heart. It's not as good, but the other 2 are also phenomenal. So if you like Cruel Melody, then go check out those 3rd and 4th records from Black Light Burns. So our other music suggestion for this episode is Killswitch Engage's Alive or Just Breathing. I just saw them just the other day. Actually, finally got my voice back. Wearing one of their shirts I bought. This August Burns Red, not Killswitch. But either way, I did see Killswitch. It was amazing. It was a little bit of a religious experience for me because this concert has been 2 years in the making. But yeah, fantastic. This first record, the first label record that they released, Alive or Just Breathing, is the standard bearer for all metalcore to come after it. They are not the first metalcore band, but they are the first metalcore band that got any kind of large recognition. So absolutely worth a listen. This is, if you are into that subgenre of metal, or if you just want to see what that subgenre of metal is all about, this is probably the greatest introduction to that. So that's what we got there. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.